I'd excuse the crazy gym hair and beard. I just left the gym. But I wanted to make this because I was specifically speaking about something through text to my wife when leaving the gym. And it gave me some thoughts that I thought might be interesting. What I was telling her is it's always interesting how weird the brain can be. I know physically my body doesn't change a large proportion in a day, a week, or even a month. I'm somebody that likes being strong. I like heavy lifting. I like strongman competitions. So the body shape has not always been my primary goal. I don't want to be massively out of shape. Like anybody else, there's times that you all look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, this area could use improvement. And even the most in shape person in the world will say that. I know I'm a strong guy. But that being said, you have the numbers to prove I'm a strong individual, which is the part that I like the most. That being said, though, it's weird how you can go to the gym, pick 3 different days of the week that you're there, and one day you feel like you look really good, you're enjoying your goals, you're hitting the things you want to. The very next day you may go in and feel like a turd, whether you're strong but too fat, whether you're weak and not hitting your numbers, whether you don't like your shape at all. And then the next day you go and you feel like you weigh 110 pounds and have no muscle, despite that you can put up big numbers. And this is everybody. This isn't a video about body dysmorphia. I don't believe I have that. I'm just kind of speaking aloud about, what your brain goes through. I'm far too old to really give a shit what people think the shape I should be. So it's just interesting how your brain will do that. But I'm also thinking while I'm talking to her about, would this be an appropriate thing for a video? It is mental health related, of course. Maybe it's physical related, but how vulnerable should I be, or should somebody be, when making social media? The whole point of social media is for me to help you learn something, maybe to set up a one-on-one, which you can do at my website if you need more intense help. But how vulnerable should you be? I won't go into it because it may not be timely by the time this comes out, but there's a pretty famous gentleman that said some things on a big podcast. He kind of segregated, I guess, or specifically individually identified a group of people that he doesn't think should be doing a certain part of the job. He came and apologized. This video is not about that either. So how vulnerable are you allowed to be? So I'm thinking about this. Well, here was the conclusion I was coming to. And these truck videos are a little bit of rambling. It's just my thoughts. Here's the conclusion I came to, is if you're not being genuine, if you're not being authentic, if you're not saying what really goes on, then I think you come across as pretty hypocritical or disgenuine. There's a group of individuals, I'll call them acquaintances. I don't necessarily hang out with them all the time. There's a group of individuals I have in mind that I know their past, not because of therapy. These are just people that I know. I know their past, and now it feels like they act so self-righteous. And I hope I never come across that way. I'm still learning along with many of you. They come across as so self-righteous. And what I mean by that is, yes, they act perfect, which maybe there's an element to just trying to speak into existence, you doing the right things and trying to put your best foot forward. But if I say something that they don't like, whether it be inappropriately a curse word or something that we might normally joke about in public safety or the military, where we get a little more dark humor and crass. This group of individuals always acts like they're completely appalled. And I do believe that there's people that maybe don't want to hear crass language or don't want to hear dirty jokes, or if that's the right word, doesn't want to hear dark humor and doesn't want to hear about violence that happens in the world, or the fact that some of us have had to be violent for sake of others and ourselves. And they just almost act like they're completely appalled by it. And the trick with that is I know their past. And your past isn't your current. I'm not holding these people to their past, if that makes sense. But if you have screwed up or done things wrong, which we all have, so this is everybody. If you have, and now you act very appalled by the things that you know has gone through your mind before, that maybe some of you have acted on before, and now you act as if the other person who might have said that thing or tried to be genuine about their thoughts or said what's in their head, if you act as if they're a bad person for that, I think it's very disgenuine. I think it's hypocritical, in fact. I think it's very off-putting. It's very off-putting when that group of individuals acts as if I'm some kind of gross monster because I'm willing to admit the things that go through my head. And I don't know that I'm saying the things that go through my head correctly. I just mean like weird thoughts, verge of to some people inappropriate thoughts. It doesn't have to be sexual. It just, when you've been around the trauma of the world for so long, I'm not talking about sitting there thinking about that all the time, but you've been opened up to possibilities that other people may not realize are part of the world. And when you talk about those things and somebody acts completely appalled by it, it comes across as very disgenuine, I think. Hypocritical almost. I think it's a big turnoff. So I'm willing to be vulnerable with you. I know many of you have been and are willing to be vulnerable with me, and I thank you for that. So just a quick truck rambling about, make sure that you're not being disgenuine or hypocritical about things that you know you have thought or done before, about things that you know people think about or do. You don't have to like it, you don't have to support it, but if you act as if you can't imagine how somebody could think that way or do those things, while in fact you've thought that way and done those things, your past is not your present. But if you act as if you would never think those things or do those things, I think you come across as very disgenuine. Maybe that's the point of this video. Maybe it's too much of a ramble. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's a warning to you and myself and to other people to not act as if the thoughts of other people have not ever gone through your mind. Maybe not in the same way, in the same type, the same kind. But let's not act like all your thoughts are pure. Let's not act like all of the things that maybe you don't act upon, but that you do think about. Those things that you think if other people know, they would think of you differently. Why aren't they allowed to think of you differently? Maybe that's just you. Don't do things selfishly to hurt people. But maybe you're trying to be genuine and you're tired of their fakeness, because their fakeness comes across as very appalling towards you. Something to think about.